If you've got a Ford E-Series van that is stuck on blowing the AC out of the defrost, or when you accelerate, it stops blowing out of the vents and starts blowing through the floor through the defrost, then that's because you either have a busted reservoir for your HVAC system or a faulty check valve. This isn't the location for these by default from the factory. This is where I've relocated them to fix the issue, which is common with these Ford E-Series vans. Let's take a look under the dash real quick, under the hood, and I'll show you where these components come from the factory. So underneath all this fixed rigid tubing is where it's stored. You should definitely not try to gain access to that and try to remove it. It would be way too costly of a repair. Instead, you just completely bypass this system and relocate it to where I've showed you. This is the intake vacuum line that's supplying the vacuum coming off the intake manifold. And you'll want to connect to this junction point here. You can see I've disconnected the factory one and just taped it on here so I don't lose it. And you now connect to this with 1/8 inch vacuum tubing and run that safely into the fender well where it can be protected and takes you directly to a great storage location for it here. Once you're in the fender well, you can see there's a really nice grommet here that you can pop out and put a hole through, and that gets you access to the side of the vehicle. And then you can turn in before you ever get to the door, so you're not in danger of hurting your vacuum lines with any of these joints here or hinges from the door. And once you come through that grommet, you have great access to inside of the vehicle here. From there, you connect this supply line that's supplying the vacuum to the black input side of the check valve. You can see the check valve, that fitting is actually a little larger than 1/8, but this vacuum tubing is pretty flexible and it will slide over it with a little bit of patience. And then from there on the other side, you take the black vacuum line here that was coming through the firewall and going up to the controls. You just gently tug that back in. This is the part where it went through the firewall. And then this is the part that was connecting to the check valve on the other side of the firewall. So you just give this a gentle tug, it'll pull back out, and then you can connect it to your check valve here. And then off the side of your check valve is where you hang your reservoir to give you extra vacuum for when you're accelerating and the engine loses vacuum, you have extra reserve in this reservoir. If you'd like a more detailed explanation of exactly how to set all this up, how to run the wire, and why this works, why this corrects the system, as well as all the parts list on Amazon, then check out my YouTube channel where I cover that in a lot more detail. Thanks for watching.